Look, I fully know the chances of Dead Rising 5 ever coming out are pretty slim. I know Capcom Vancouver shut down years ago, and it's extremely unlikely that we'll ever see another branch of Capcom pick this series back up. But y'all can't stop me from dreaming. And creaming, I guess. To be honest, I gave up my hopes of this game ever happening a few years ago, but recently my gut feelings have been heavily tested. In the last year alone, especially after the disaster that was Redfall, I assumed Dishonored 3 was never gonna happen. But recently that shit got leaked and I was so fucking happy. If this shit's an Xbox exclusive, I'ma kill myself. And also early beta footage of a Dead Rising 5 build was released. Like, you can literally find videos of it on YouTube right now. It's way too early in production to be able to judge anything about it really though. But they did confirm that it would have had a name, and I think it would have been like a prequel to Dead Rising 2 in a way or something, which is really interesting. But that shit's scrapped and over with. It's probably never gonna see the light of day, which is really unfortunate. So I realized instead of just sitting here thinking about this game that will never come out, why don't I just write down all the things I want to see in it and make a pitch video with all of my ideas for Dead Rising 5. I'm talking all the gameplay aspects, I even got some psychopath ideas to pitch, and the outline of a fucking story even. So stick around. And I've never really done anything like this before, so cut me some slack if not every idea is super great. And also feel free to let me know some of your ideas for the 5th game in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoy my pitch video. My premise for Dead Rising 5 is pretty simple. I kinda want to take this series back to its roots, and I mean that for real this time. The game will take place entirely in this large popular resort in like California or something with lots of shit to engage with. It will obviously have its own mall with multiple different departments and plazas to explore. And when you get bored of that, there's also the main outside area of the resort, which will contain a lot of shit as well and basically connects everything in the map. You have your main walk area that will be filled with countless unique restaurants and shops. We'll also see the return of the little looter store, because why the fuck not? Why did they get rid of these things to begin with? On this strip, you'll also be able to find several cars, motorcycles, and even a couple of hamster balls, because why the fuck not? Apart from the main walkway, we also have a really nice expensive beach area with functional boats and everything. On this beach will be a series of docks, one of which a giant yacht will be parked at, which of course you can explore and mess around in, which was basically the original idea for Dead Rising 3, I believe. Another dock contains a pretty large and fully functional amusement park, where you can play games and ride roller coasters till your heart's content. And near the amusement park will be a functional water park which you can splash around in. On this resort, you'll also be able to find a massive hotel to explore and mess around with. The hotel will also have a casino inside of it in which you can gamble in, like in Dead Rising 2, and of course a series of underground parking garages that connect every point in the map. But you'll have to find the key to open the doors, similar to the first game. You'll also have to deal with hundreds of shoulder-to-shoulder zombies if you come down here. So that way it's convenient but not too convenient. This map will provide players with an almost endless amount of fun things to do. It will hopefully satisfy the needs of those who like the larger maps of the 3rd and 4th game, and even those who preferred the smaller and more detailed maps of the first two. I think this map allows for the best of both worlds in a way. I basically took aspects that worked well in the last game and combined them into one entirely new location. And sure, this resort might be unrealistically and insanely huge, but it's perfect for a game like this. But the map is nothing without some good ass gameplay to back it up, so let's talk about that real quick. The gameplay of Dead Rising 5 will be reminiscent of the old games but also feel new in its own way. I think we should definitely bring back the week-long timer from the 3rd game. I know a lot of players don't like the timer, but I've always found that it adds a nice sense of urgency to the gameplay. And having it be a week long will provide players with more than enough time to enjoy most of the content that we have to offer. And if they really just want to fuck around, then we can also see the return of sandbox mode from off the record. And maybe it can be randomized, so every time you start up a new save, the hostile survivors and weapon placements are different. I also think we should borrow the base gameplay from Dead Rising 3. It has some of the smoothest and easiest to learn mechanics of the entire series. With some small tweaks, we could take this already pretty good movement and polish it into feeling smooth as fuck. We're going to keep the option to run straight out the gate, but it's going to function a little more like the first two games. What I mean like that is you'll always have the ability to just walk or hold down LB or something and start running. But your run speed will start out at an okay speed and gradually be increased as you level up throughout the game, like in the first two. So you'll start out with an okay pace at the beginning and it slowly builds up to being fast as fuck. We're obviously going to bring back the option to just use anything lying around as a weapon, but to an even further extent. If that shit isn't bolted down and could be realistically lifted by a human, then fuck it, do it. Combo weapons will obviously make a return, except for the stupid fucking robot suits. You'll be able to craft basic combo weapons on the fly like the spike bat, knife, gloves, and the defiler, etc. But when it comes to bigger combo stuffs like that warrior bear with the guns, or any kind of explosive device that you have to carry around with 2 hands, or it's a throwable, you know the type. Those will have to be made in the classic crafting rooms like in Dead Rising 2. I think this will create a nice balance since it allows players to make your normal weapons on the fly whenever they need to, but if they want to make something like a fucking nuke, they have to go out of their way to find a crafting room. We'll also see the return of item slot management, where you'll start out with the ability to carry around 4 items, and more slots are added as the game goes on. This means you'll have to dedicate one of these slots to your food items. We're getting rid of this separate pocket idea from the last game. This will also include stuff like the upgrade books, but the story items like keys and stuff won't take up a slot, obviously. Combo cards will still exist, but they'll be a lot less frequent than the last time. There will be 2 separate areas in the map that you can make them. A small auto repair shop in the outskirts of the resort, and in the parking garage in the resort that leads into the main drag. And of course, co-op will return, but this time it's better than ever because we'll be doing up to 4 players at once. If Dying Light can do it, so can we, damn it. To make sure this doesn't make the game hella easy, we'd probably increase the difficulty to certain encounters, or maybe change how they play out a little bit so it's a little more unexpected. I think we should talk about the enemies real quick, as they're one of the most important factors of the game. We're going to take the zombies back to their roots, slow, shambly idiots who are fun to fuck with in small numbers but can be a major threat when they group up. We're not going to have any special zombies aside from like the occasional bloater who's hard to kill because he's fat, and maybe a rare zombie who's stronger and faster than the rest or something like that who occasionally shows up. But none of that weird naked jumpy guy shit here. We'd obviously prioritize some cool gore effects. I mean, we gotta compete with Dead Island 2 here, man. But aside from the zombies, you'll occasionally encounter small groups of human enemies. I have 4 faction ideas as of right now. Like I said earlier, we're gonna bring back the looters because I love these little dweebs. We'll also see the return of the cultists as a callback to the first game. No, I don't count that shit from Dead Rising 4. That shit was laughable. I mean, for real this time. The actual cultists will return with a real leader and everything. I think it would be really funny if the rich old people of this resort just went crazy when the zombie outbreak happened, and they take on the monicum of the True Eye cult because they believe the zombie attack is some kind of end of times or something. And this time he's just some tennis coach who works at the resort and went crazy, so I guess that's why he's decent with a sword. And your battle arena is a fenced-in tennis court surrounded by dozens of these dudes cheering him on as you fight. But we'll talk more about my psychopath ideas in a second, cause yes, we're bringing him back, baby. Another faction would be the occasional group of well-dressed gangster dudes who work for this big mobster who owns the casino, or something like that. I'll get more into that later though. Last but not least, there's the anarchists who just want to cause chaos and fuck with you in any way they can. I think these guys being around would really spice up the gameplay so it's not mindless slashing the whole time. But more importantly, we have the psychopaths. I have 12 in total, 3 of which are required for the main story, and the rest are completely optional like the good old days. I already mentioned the cultists, and I think you probably get the gimmick behind that boss fight, so I'll move on to the next one. To preface this next one, I should really talk about how this game's side content is going to work. In the original games, the side content mainly just consisted of going and saving survivors or fighting a psychopath. So we should expand on this idea a little bit, I think. Not only will we add actual side missions with actual plots, we'll add entire subplots as well that last for several missions. For example, the second faction leader is the mobster who runs the casino. When you first meet him, you do some easy side jobs for him. He'll basically be his errand boy. But this way you're able to gain his respect and his gangsters leave you alone and will even assist you in combat sometimes. But eventually you'll indirectly piss him off somehow, and he's a bigger and stronger man who will knock you on your ass if you stick close for too long. He wields a double barrel shotgun and maybe even has some kind of robotic arm like they suggested was going to be a thing in the original Dead Rising 5. Once you defeat him, you'll basically inherit his small empire and get some cool new weapons and cars, and the gangsters will permanently be nice to you. Maybe you could briefly hire them like in Assassin's Creed. The anarchists and looters, however, would not have a faction leader because that shit would not make any sense. Another psychopath you'd have to do a few missions for is his TMZ reporter type guy. Well, he obviously wouldn't be really a TMZ reporter. This dude's been riding around the resort and filming the carnage since the apocalypse began. Fuck guy. And you'd have to do a few photo challenges for him to prove that classic photography isn't totally obsolete. This guy would basically act as a modern day version of Kent. After completing his challenges, he snaps at you and attacks you while riding a motorcycle, similar to Leon Bell from Dead Rising 2. Then you kill his ass. Another side plot based psychopath idea I have is the fake survivalist. This guy will basically be a Bear Grylls parody. Since the game takes place in California, we could emphasize the whole TV and movies aspects that comes with that. This guy's basically a fraud who only does this shit for TV and has no clue what he's actually talking about. And once the zombie attack happens, he goes crazy and reverts into his TV persona and runs around the resort surviving by drinking his own piss and shit like that. He'd only have one mission in which he leads you on some crusade to go save a bunch of survivors, and you do all the bullshit he wants you to do only to find out that there's no survivors at all. Once you call him out, he gets defensive and decides to attack you. He's wild and acrobatic, so he'll definitely put up a decent fight. Once you kill him, you'll find out he actually did have survivors, but they were trapped in his trailer, and it's his camera crew that he kidnapped or some shit. I have a few more psychopaths to cover, but these ones are the solo encounter types. The guys that you randomly stumble across in the main game, you know what I'm talking about. I'll start with this idea because I'm still kind of on the fence about if I should even include it, but I think a really fun callback boss would be to have Adam the Clown's daughter or some shit. She's a contortionist clown woman who wields two scythes. This idea might be too goofy or repetitive, but I don't know. I just think it would be kind of funny considering they did it with Off the Record as well. A simple but fun idea would be this chubby, overly tan, middle-aged gambler man who looks like one of those casino Elvis performers, and he takes over the actual casino of the resort and kills anyone who steps foot near his slots. It'd also be funny if his weapon was like some comedically huge Tommy gun or something, and once you kill him you get it and it's like extremely powerful. Moving on to the next psycho, we have a well-mannered old lady who runs an antique shop on the main strip of the map. You go there thinking that she needs help, only for her to try to lure you into the secret room she has so she can torture and kill you, because this lady's a fucking serial killer, damn it. And she has been since before the zombies ever even invaded the resort. She uses the antique store as a cover-up for her true passion of murder. You wouldn't really directly fight her, obviously, because she's an old brittle lady. Her boss would be more like a series of deadly challenges you have to do to escape her shop, kinda like some Saw shit. Once you do escape her trap, she fearfully flees away from you and out of her store, running straight into a horde of zombies, in which she's scared so much she has a heart attack and drops dead on the scene while the zombies begin to chow down. The last solo psychopath is actually a pair. It's two beach lifeguards, one being your typical young Chad and another being your usual Heather, who took their jobs way too seriously before the apocalypse. And now that zombies are invading, they've both mentally snapped and have been non-stop policing the beach. They get mad at you for inciting violence against zombies on their beach and decide to attack you. Chad here uses a surfboard as a weapon, like it's some kind of giant staff or something. And Heather uses a lifesaver to restrain and pull you towards her before kicking the shit out of you. Once you kill them, you'll have full free reigns to fuck around on the beach without getting harassed by anybody except for zombies. Those are most of the psychopath ideas I have for now. Let me know some of your ideas down in the comments. I do have a few story related ones that we'll go over later, but I'll save that for when we actually discuss the story. And I'm sure a lot of you want to know what the hell I'm going to do with the survivor system. Well, you'll have to escort them to safety back to the safe house, but it will be more like the third game, in the sense that the AI won't be atrocious, and after you save them you'll be able to recruit them into your gang. But if they die, they're dead for good, so you gotta be considerate with your human stock. But not every encounter will play out like this. Some will want you to do some kind of mission for them, or some might just straight up leave and give you a weapon like they do in Dead Rising 4. Some might just try to fucking fight you because they don't trust you at all, shit like that. I think this bit of variety would make the survivor encounters much more interesting to interact with. But aside from the survivors and psychopaths, what other side content will be in the game? Well, you would obviously have your weird gimmicks and mini games to find around a resort, like gambling and stuff like that. But you could also have some random side quests like zombie infested areas you have to clear in order to create a small safe zone. There would be a few street races and zombie killing matches where you have to compete with a bunch of other people to kill the most zombies at once. I'm open to suggestions about what other side content you want to see, so feel free to let me know. Let's move on. Oh, shit. I guess not. I guess I'm basically done talking about the gameplay. Here's a recap of what we just talked about. Now it's time for the glue that holds this shit together, that motherfucking story. I do have a basic story outline prepared for you, but take it easy on me if you don't really like it. I don't write video games, and this series hasn't usually been about the plot since the first game anyway, so whatever. Years after the events of Dead Rising 4, things are business as usual in this California resort when suddenly the place is gas bombed by unknown terrorists. The gas bomb in question turns most of the resort goers and staff members into zombies, so a group of brave survivors team up to uncover the truth of the situation. You might be wondering, is Frank West back? Well, yeah and no. Don't worry, we're not gonna make him the protagonist again for the fourth fucking time. He'll be a main character though, he's just more of a mentor to our new protagonist, Patrick. The name doesn't really matter, that's just kind of a placeholder for right now. It was one of the first things that came up when I searched names that end with K on Google, because we gotta keep that trend up, you know. Frank, Chuck, Nick, and Patrick. Patrick is a young dude who wants to become a renowned reporter, similar to someone like Frank West, but he doesn't idolize Frank or anything like that. He actually sees him as a bit of a hack at first. But unfortunately, Patrick's a little stuck at the moment. He wants to be doing more important journalism, but it's said he works at this resort as the wedding/social media photographer. When the zombie outbreak happens, he decides that he's going to be the one to figure out what's really going on and save a bunch of lives while he's at it, because I guess he's just a good dude. I don't really have the specifics of his personality worked out, but I'd say he's more on the confident side, like Chuck Green. He's cocky sometimes, but he's not an idiot. I want him to be younger because I want this dude to be as fresh faced as possible. This is his first big story ever. He hasn't covered any wars, you know. You also have a few allies to assist you throughout the story, like Frank, who I said is basically your mentor, and it's kind of like this game's version of Brad. You'll work together to solve the case, and you'll occasionally team up for a few missions or to fight a boss fight, one of which is a pair of government agents who follow you around throughout the game and occasionally attack you. You have a few different bosses against them where you and Frank team up to take them down, kind of like Carlito's encounters in the first game. Eventually you beat them for real and learn that they're working with the US government to prevent Patrick's story from getting out. We'll get more into that in a second though. Maybe player 2 can take on the role of Frank during co-op, like in Case West. I think that would be pretty cool. Another ally will actually be another returning character in the form of Kenny from Dead Rising 3. It's been years since we've last seen him, and it seems like he's matured a bit since the third game. He's become the head of like the janitorial staff or something, and he'll basically act as this game's Otis, calling you with updates as you run around the map. But eventually he'll unfortunately die near the end of the story, because unlike the fourth game, we're actually going to develop these characters, so it kinda sucks when they die. Then there's Benny, who's the head of security at the resort. He gets separated from his family as the outbreak happens, so his main goal is to find them in any way possible. And eventually he does find them, only to find out that they died and have been zombies for like the whole fucking game. This of course makes him snap, and you have to fight a boss fight against him where he's driving around in this little fucking cart, throwing bombs at you and shooting you. After you beat him, his cart crashes and you have to fight him on foot as like a second phase, because I don't really think that many bosses have done that before in the series. You unfortunately have to kill him, but once you do, you get the key that unlocks all the doors underground, granting you access to everywhere in the resort. The last two survivors you'll be allied with are Victoria, the extremely wealthy woman who owns the resort, and her mild-mannered assistant Otto. As the game goes on, you begin to uncover the truth that this attack wasn't done by some random terrorist, but rather by our own government. Shocker, I know. But I'm trying to keep the story consistent with the franchise, okay? The reason they did this was to harbor fear and hatred against some other country that they want an excuse to go to war with. We also learned that Victoria is in on the idea and being paid off by the government, and her mild-mannered assistant Otto isn't an assistant at all, and he's also not very mild-mannered, he's very rude. The whole time he's actually been an undercover agent who's overseeing the operation to make sure everything plays out smoothly. At the end of the game, he leaves Victoria behind to be eaten by the zombies, and him and his team try to retreat back to the yacht, which they've been using as a secret base of operations for the whole game. They try to escape by helicopter, but you destroy it before they can. This causes the boat to catch on fire and begin to slowly sink, so you have to fight Otto as that shit's going down. You defeat him and his entire operation sinks into the depths of the ocean, and Patrick and Frank escape the resort on a little lifeboat to go tell the rest of the world the truth about what really happened there. And that's what I got so far. Do you like it? I think it's alright. I wanted to go back to the series' roots of having a surprisingly dark story under all the fun gameplay. And I think the US government faking a terrorist attack on its own people as an excuse to go to war is a pretty fucking dark idea. So that's it. That's currently my whole list of ideas for the 5th Dead Rising game. Again, please feel free to let me know some of your ideas in the comments below. Maybe I'll even make a part 2 to this video if we can get enough ideas going. Hopefully one day we'll see Dead Rising 5 in some shape or form. Like I said, there was that short gameplay footage that got leaked, but it's clear that the game was never very far into production, and I know the chances of it getting picked back up are basically non-existent. But I'm just gonna keep on hoping anyway. Thank you for watching my pitch video, and Capcom, consider it. Alright, my business email's in the descriptions.